Hello everyone, welcome back. So in today's video, we will gonna discuss the service account. So far, we have seen how you can create how you can create a certificate to authenticate your user, how you can create a certificate with the assigned group, which is already inbuilt group in the Kubernetes. You can use the same and you can create a certificate and you can authenticate. How you can create a role and the role binding, right? Dedicated role and role binding. I have not seen, or maybe have discussed the cluster role and cluster role binding, right? But the demo which we have seen in the previous video, that was only for the role, where we have created a role for our user called Sam, which was able to list the ports in a particular namespace, and then we have assigned one more role where he was able to list the service account as well, right? Similarly, if you instead of role, you will create a cluster role and the cluster role binding, right? Because that's what we have seen here. If I just run k API resources and just grep for role. Okay, there was typo. So you are RCS and I grep for just roles. Okay, it's APT, it's API. Sorry for the typo. So here you can see role binding and roles are scoped inside the namespace only, whereas cluster role and cluster role binding are not for a particular namespace. It can do across all cluster, right? So what is the use of service account if we have the user and group, right, which we have assigned and do, right? But in order to integrate a third party tool, we have discussed like, let's say if you have that Python script, which are just listing some Kubernetes pod which is running or getting some status of that pod, or maybe you have some Jenkins pipelines where you are doing something, right? Or maybe let's say you have a Prometheus or Grafana running, which is just fetching that performance of your Kubernetes cluster or maybe the pods on the basis of metrics. So all those things can be done only and only when that particular tool is having access to your cluster, right? Without accessing, it cannot do or cannot get anything. So in order to do that, we have to create a account called service account, right? And that account we need to assign a particular role so that it can do that particular thing, right? By default, if you see in each namespace, we have some service account already created. If I just show you in dev namespace, we have default. It is in default namespace. It is in dev namespace. Similarly, if I just want to see in cube system, so in cube system maybe many because that is the internal. But here also, if you see that you have the default service account, right? So what I try to convey is whenever you are creating any namespace, by default, a default with the name of default, a service account is created, right? And that is just to like in order to work inside that Kubernetes cluster, right? So that kube API server or the kubelet will get the information of that pod, what is happening, but it is having very least privilege. See, I think we have some pod running. Yeah, it is running since last demo, or maybe not sure. But anyways, if I just describe any of the pod, let's say this one, okay? So here you can see that by default, what is happening is in each pod, we have a service account is already mounted, where I can see, come on, ready, constant pod, this one, node selector. This is the I can see it has, but where I can see that default, let me, here it is. You can see that service account is default. Why? Because this pod has to authenticate to somewhere, right? So that it can give its information to kubelet, and then kubelet give its information to kube API server. That's an internal mechanism, right? By default, this default namespace, default service account meant is just to get inside, because whenever you are creating a pod, right, without any property, there is a property you can control whether you want to that particular default service account to be mounted inside your pod or not. But if you're not, by default it get mounted, and you can see the details are under this. Here you can just run it, right? Let's say we have described the def pod one. I'm not sure if we have the cat command is there or not, but let's try -it def pod 1. I just want to cat the file, this one is a directory. Okay, let's see what we have. It's not a directory, basically it's here I would say service account. Okay, I will show you a different pod, but yeah, under this directory, what is happening is like it is creating a few files, right, where it will cap the token, it will create the what is the namespace you have created. All these things are getting under this, right? So it is not allowing. Anyways, let me take you to our file. So this file I will gonna push it to our repo. So here you can see what I'm doing is I am creating a pod called not pod, sorry, service account API pod SA in the default namespace. As of now, we have only one service account, which is a default service account. Then I am just creating some token for this. So in order to do this token, right, what you need to do is you need to create a secret, and under that secret, automatically if you put this type as this one, right, it will get binded this. And then once that is binded, you can see I am creating a new pod, and where I am explicitly mounting that pod with the this current service account. So here you can see service account name, I am giving our name, right? If you don't want to give, then there is another property. Let me show you that as well. This is for the network policy. Where is the service account? This is the service account, yeah. And for this, just let me find out, okay. Yeah, this one, auto mount service account token false. If you give this, right, your whatever that particular pod is getting created, that will not have that service account inside it, right? But here we are doing it explicitly, so we will get our this. So for this, automatically this mount path will get created. But since here we are doing from the token, so token you need to give it, because for this we don't have that any by default. If you see, right, k get secret, there is no secret. But if I'm gonna define this k describe SA default, so here you can see, right, nothing is happening. But whenever it is getting created inside it, that it is getting created its token and everything, right? But when we gonna create our service account, it will create a secret dedicated for this pod, and then it will get mounted under that secret, right? I will show you. And once you get the inside, right, and then you will see like how you can create the token and how you can get all these things, right? I will explain you what it is happening here, but let me just copy this file and we will gonna create this. So I will copy till here, right? And I will go and I will just say API SA demo.yaml, and I will just do it this, right? And now let's create this k create -f API essay demo create. Okay, it is created now. Now if you see k get essay, right, we have this service account created, and if I am gonna describe this essay, here you can see it has a token, right? Earlier, if you see the default one, there was no token, right? But here you can see we have this token called API pod essay token. And if you describe this, k describe secret, so here you can see we have one token inside this secret. And this token you can use to authenticate your pod towards any of that third party tool, or maybe inside if you are doing something, right? Let's say if you have that application running in as a pod inside the cluster, right, and you want to get the information from the other namespaces to inside that application. So using this token, you can authenticate, and using the whatever the roles and role binding you have done, which we have already learned in our last video, it can do that action. Okay. Now, if I see my pod is running, API pod is running fine. Now, if I go inside this pod, API pod, I'm inside the pod, right? And now if I cat this file, okay, you can see that this is the same token which was under secret, because this is what we have mounted, right? Let me show you. K describe pod, and if you do the API pod, right, now if you see the service account, because we have mentioned in our definition file, so it has done the API pod essay, not the default one, which is a default behavior. And if you see the volume mount, it is coming from a secret, right? That's what we have already defined as a token. You can see type as a secret, and it is coming from this secret name, which is created as a part of this service account demo. Now, if I go inside that pod again, and I will try to list this, right? This is just a kind of, if I just, okay, I need to copy one by one. Sorry about that. This is the CSR, right? Because when you do this, right, ls, and you do this, so what is happening is, by default there are three things already come, right? Because to authenticate, what we need, we have learned, right, we need certificate or key for the user and group, and we need a TLS certificate, the main certificate of your Kubernetes, if you are using a user or group. But if you are using a service account, then you need only token and the certificate, right? The certificate which we have discussed. So here you can see by default it has mounted that certificate. If I just cat this, so it is the same certificate which we can see under the etc Kubernetes PKI CSR, right? If I do this namespace, so it will tell you, okay, in which namespace you have this uh, this service account created. It's in default, right? And if you cat the token, that's what we have already seen, it will show you the same token which is under the secrets, because that's what we have mounted, right? Now using this token, what I can do is I can authenticate. So I can give a curl command to my Kubernetes just to check whether I am able to do it or not. This is the certificate I am referring, CSRT, right? And in the header, if you just give this file, what I'm doing is I'm just passing a bearer token. By default, it is gonna cat that file, and now just access this. By default, what I'm doing is, let me explain one more time. Basically, I am trying to curl this server, right? Let's say if I'm just directly doing curl and this server, right? That's what I'm doing, and slash API. It will give you a authentication error, right? Client sent an HTTP request to HTTP to an HTTPS server. Okay. Yeah, because it is a HTTP, right? Exposed. So it is required to connect because we are sending HTTP request, but it is going to a HTTPS. So in order to do that, we need to pass a certificate as well. Okay, now let's pass the certificate. I'm passing the certificate, and now let's try to access it. Again, it is passing the certificate, but where is the key, right? So to in order to fill that, we need to pass that token as well so that it can authenticate. Now everything got fulfilled and we get the API version of this. So that's what that particular do. If you have passed that some other, let's say if you want to list the pod under inside that, right? That's what also you can do. But you have a sufficient in order to do that. Your service account should have that particular roles assigned to that so that it can do, right? So let's do one thing. Let's create a service account for this user called API reader. Okay, and what this API reader will do is will use this service account from a Python script from this static token and dynamic token, right? That's what we have discussed here. A token can be static and dynamic. Static token is something which is stay forever, like this way we have created our the secret, right? So this secret is coming as a static token for this API pod user. And dynamic is something which you can create instantly with a timestamp. By default, I think it's 1 hour. After 1 hour, it will automatically discarded that token. The token will no more valid. But if you create, let's say you want to create for some hours, then there is a flag called dash dash duration, and that you can put, and you will specify the that particular. I think it is mentioned somewhere. Okay, not in this file, maybe in this file only. Service account for SA 42 number, 43-2 number. So here you can see I am creating this service account, then I am creating a token for the same way. That's what we have done for now. And then I'm just defining some rules because as of now this user, whatever we are doing now, this user don't have any rules, right? It can just connect to the API server. That's what we are doing. But if we try to do to more thing, it will not allow us, right? Then we are binding that particular role to this user. Okay, and after that, yeah, you can see that dash dash duration 24 hours you can do, right? Or maybe up to this hours you can do, and that is almost 1 year, and that is the maximum limit you can put for a particular token. This is the way you can create a dynamic token. Okay, now creating a token creator role for this. If you want to assign more roles to that particular user, that's what you can do, and then you can bind that role to API reader, right? And this way you can do that. Again, it is kind of defining that let's say if the same command, if I am trying to with the this user, let's get inside and we have run this API, we are able to do that, right? What if I want to list the namespaces default pod? Can you see? Forbidden. Why? Because there is no permission, there is no role assigned to this user. That's what we are doing, right? Only we are able to connect to the our API server. That's what we are doing. But after that, whatever you are doing, you need a role and role binding, right? Now let's create this, and then we will try to do all these things with this user only. Okay. Okay. Let's quickly copy and vi python-demo.yaml. I'm just giving some random name to these files. And let's quickly create this. CREATE. Okay, what it has done is it has created a new service account called API reader. It has a new token created API reader. Then it has created some role binding, and then again role binding. Now if I do kget SA, I have a new user called API reader. Right now, let's do one thing. We have created our pod, right? Kget pod and kget secret. I will show you one thing. For this API reader token is the uh, that's what I think. Let me check one. Yeah, API reader token is created. Okay. What I'm trying to do is earlier we have created this pod with a API pod SA, right? Now I will create this pod with the API reader which has a row to list the pod. Okay. And we will do the same curl command where we were getting the forbidden error. Okay. Now let's do one thing. Quickly delete this pod. Okay, delete pod, and I'm gonna delete this pod. It is deleted. Let's wait because it is gracefully deleting in background. One more. Still. Okay. One more. No. Okay. Come on. Okay, it's deleted now. And which file we have created for this? I forgot, but let me do one thing. Let me just grep for a create, and we have done this dev pod. Okay, now I will go inside the dev pod, not dev pod. There is something else we have done. API demo. Okay, API-SA demo, and here I will assign that particular service account which is we are creating here, which is API reader. Okay, and while mounting this, what I will do is I will give my token name which is API reader token. Okay, let's quickly copy and paste it, and let's create this pod again. Okay, k create -f API -SA -demo YAML. Okay, I just need to create a new pod, but you can see that it has created, and the other stuff which was already embedded in this file, right? That was already there, so it is saying that already exists. But anyways, we just meant our pod. So pod is pinned up now 19 seconds ago. Now let's get inside this pod. Now, if you need to run that particular curl command, let me quickly copy. And I will pass my token as a header, and then I will connect to my API. I am able to do that. Now, if I do the same thing with my this one, I want to list my pod because whatever that particular service account as of now is binded. Will that able to do? You can see that there are a lot of information. Why? Because we are able to cat or we are able to list our pod. Earlier it was forbidden, right? That's the way that you can authenticate your user service account. You can see that BGBox was the image used. And there is a way, right? I don't have that command handy, but there is a way that using the JSON query, you can parse that only the information which you need. Right here you can say we have a lot of container is running. This is the host IP. That means the pod IP it is running. Pod def pod 2. That's all pod is running already, right? So only the thing what I wanted to convey is whenever you are creating a service token, right? That doesn't mean if you created the token for that service account, you have access. No, with the token, you can only authenticate yourself. But in order to get some work done, you need to assign some particular role, and that role has to be binded to that particular what you call this service account. Only that way you can do. Now I have this what you call this Python script, right, which is using this one static token, and it will gonna, like, if I'm just running this Python, and I would say labs and 43-3. So as of now, okay, there is something wrong with the Python command. Now it's good. Lab 43-3. It is saying that, let's say, because I have tested this Python script before this demo. So maybe this token is already expired. So it will say forbidden. Let's try. It's still not giving any answer to me. You can see, right? It is not able to connect to that particular user. So let's see. Yeah, one more thing. Why? Because it is not able to connect. Now I am connecting from the outside. So remember that we have created an admin file, right? So in order to do that, what we need to do is we need to create that again config file for this user, right? So I have this kgetSA. I have this API reader, right? Now if I just say kgetSecret, I have this API reader token. Let me describe this. It has this token, right? And now, just now also we learned, in order to authenticate with the service account, we need a token and certificate. So what I have done is, I have pasted my certificate in the same directory where I have this Python file, and I have this config file as well. So I am passing that certificate file, but this token I need to do it again. So let me delete this, because as of now we have new token, right? So I have pasted a new token and I just save it, and now let's try to run this script, because earlier it was not able to connect. Actually the issue was, let me explain. We were doing the same correct thing, right? Like we are getting this token. Either you can get it from here or you can get it from the secret which you have used, right? And that token you has to pass inside that this admin.conf file, right? That's what we have already done. But still, we were getting the issues like while authenticating. Why? Because when I'm checking this file, right? My Python script, I'm referring to the same directory, but the problem was I was running outside of this lab, because this ca.cert and admin.conf file was sitting inside a lab directory. But if I'm running my Python script from here, let's say lab 43-3, I will get the same thing, right? It will say that, okay, there is no file, so it will not able to authenticate, right? Let me clear it. And now I will go inside the lab directory, and now if I'll run this, okay, I need to refer the direct. There is no lab inside the lab, okay, because I'm already in lab directory. Now I'm running the same script, and let's see whether it will get authenticate or not. And you can see, indeed we are getting the same stuff. If we run the kget ports inside a default namespace, right? In fact, you can run this command from here as well, because I have downloaded the kubectl binary and using this config file, right? Remember, by default it will look at the user's home directory, but if you have a different path, that you can define with the kubeconfig. And if I run kubeget get ports, now you can see I am also getting the same thing which I am getting at the cluster end. So this way you can authenticate from outside of your cluster, because now I am running all these from my local laptop, not inside that VM. All right. This is the way like we are, but it is for the static token, right? Like this token you has to create every time here, and it will be forever. But if you want a dynamic token, right, like every time when you want that, okay, let me do one thing. Let's create this token for 1 minute. Okay, I will do one thing, and I will say just 1 second, 1 minute. Okay. Okay, it is saying that okay, minimum, yeah, that is at least for 10 minutes you need to do. But whenever you doing from your end, what you can do is just create it for the 10 minutes, put it that token from here, and after 10 minutes, when we try this, right, it will gonna fail because that is the static token we have created. But what I want is like whenever I am running my Python script, every time it will gonna create a new token for me, right? Before I run. So this is a dynamic script for to because in this script what we are doing is we are creating a token every time whenever we are running. So here you can see I'm referring this kube config is this one, kubectl path is this one, and I am just getting the token. I'm just running the same command kubectl path, that means the kubectl.exe that dash dash kube config admin conf create token, and SA name I am passing a API reader. So the same user you need to pass within the namespace, whatever the namespace you want to do. And duration I'm just putting it for 1 hour, right? And now if I run this uh, 43-4. So now it will use a dynamic token which will get created for itself, and that will valid for 1 hour. And you can see we are getting the same thing. When we are using the static, we are not getting the status of that pod, right? That's what I just wanted to make difference here. And but when we are running the kubectl, we are getting the all details. And but when we are running this dynamic, we are getting the status as well, right? So that is the use of the service account which you can authenticate from your right. So here what we are doing is we are just putting the certificate file, and instead of user key and the certificate, because this is not the valid user, this is a service account inside a Kubernetes cluster, you just need to pass the token, and using this file you can authenticate from anywhere until unless you have the access directly to this IP. Okay, and in order to do that you have to get this file ca.cert, and if you are using some kind of dynamic thing in your script, then you need to use this kubectl binary as well. All right, so that was the demo for the service account, right? Only that directory we were not in the correct directory, so that makes some confusion. Sorry about that. But as of now, we are good. We are getting our data using our service account. All right. So I will push all these files inside our repo so that you can also get it and you can do that stuff. Okay, so I think that's it for the day. I will meet you in the next video where we will see the service, how we can refer a service instead of the name of that particular IP or the port. If we want to get it from name, how we can do it. All right. So I think, yeah, that was the demo from today. I will meet you in the next video. Thank you.